Hi, this is Trev and welcome to my blog. It's raining again. In fact, it's rained every single free day I've had for probably months now. Unfortunately, I need some sunny days in order to finish off part 20 of my Bedford van blog. So until the weather bucks up, I won't be able to complete it. However, I do have a couple of projects I'm going to show you that I've done recently, so you won't go completely cold turkey on me. So I'll bring you up to speed on what's been going on with the binnacle, the instrument cluster. If you watched part 19, you'll have seen this. This drives the ECU, and it tells the ECU to change mapping when the car is in drive. So it changes to a different map in the ECU, delivering different kind of fuel injection to make the car drive. And then when you pull up and it stops turning, it tells the ECU that the car is stationary, so it just lets it idle fine. And it also tells the original speedo how fast you're going. Of course, this is wildly inaccurate as this is now driven off the Sierra 5-speed gearbox cable. And also I don't want the instrument cluster off the Focus here because it's just going to look horrific. Now, I had actually got a small piece of speedo cable sticking out the centre of this, and then that drove the new mechanical speedo that I've got. Unfortunately, it doesn't work very well, and I think the main issue is there's just too much drag on the cable, and it seems to sort of go fast, slow, fast, slow, fast, slow, and it's also going to be wildly inaccurate. So what I thought I'd do is keep this system, because this is working fantastically well. This just turns, the car drives fine. You know when this kind of system isn't working because the car stalls. Well, the car's definitely not stalling and it's driving absolutely fine. So I know this system works okay. The problem I've got is I can't run a speedo because I'm utilising my speedo cable to run this. So what I've done is I've bought myself a GPS speedo. So hopefully I'm going to unbolt, so this won't be attached now, this is just going to float in there. I'm going to cap that off and that can just stand alone. That's working, happy with that. Leave it well alone. GPS speedo should give me an accurate representation of how fast I'm going. Also record the mileage, because you need to have the mileage recorded for things to be legal, so I want to do that as well. So that'll take care of that. Otherwise I could just run a standard sat nav and it would tell me how fast I was going. But I really need a working speedo for obvious reasons. So what I've done is I've wired up independently all the different lights and everything, and it's just a complete mess. But I know now that everything works. All the gauges that I want to use, they work. All the warning lights work. Happy days, everything works. But now I've got 20 odd separate wires that I've got to disconnect and reconnect every time I want to take that binnacle out. So I've been down to a local breaker's yard, and it wasn't as easy as I actually thought getting these wiring blocks. I had to hunt high and low, and then I was sort of sat in the middle of the scrapyard surrounded with cars with wiring blocks looking at me from all different angles. It was a really bizarre day. I sort of spent half an hour sort of hunting round to start with. So I managed to get some with a bit of wire coming off each end, because that was the other thing. It's really hard to get something that's not too close to the block, if you know what I'm trying to say. This was the original wiring block that I was going to use. More than enough wires to wire everything. The problem is, I soon realised, was if I fit this block, then there's no way of splitting the circuits away from each other. And one of the most important things is the old instrument cluster from the Focus will then be wired behind the dashboard to the headlights and everything else, because it'll all be part of the same loom. So if I wanted to take that instrument cluster out, for argument's sake, then I'll have to cut the loom to get it out. Whereas if I use 3 separate wiring blocks like this, then I can keep everything separate. So that one goes to the Focus instrument cluster. This one's for the lights, for the indicators and the headlights, and this one here is for the instruments and the warning lights. And I've got a couple of spares on each one, which I'm going to save, of course, because at some stage I may want to replace one of these two redundant gauges. This is an amp meter, this is an oil pressure gauge. I may replace one of those with a rev counter at some stage. And the GPS speedo still hasn't come. The other thing that I've done is I've tried to tidy up the wiring by drawing everything out to this little loom that circles everything, and all the wires can go straight off that to that. As soon as the speedo is wired in, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some split conduit trunking over everything. This is slightly too small, so I've just ordered some stuff slightly larger, because this is 6.5 and I've just ordered some 10mm, and that'll be able to encapsulate all the wiring so that it's got a double insulation. Sort of makes sense really, doesn't it? So let's have a quick look under the dash.